All right, welcome to the Friday episode of the SOSCAST, only here on Valuetainment, the sexiest financial podcast in the world. This is where finance meets romance. And as you know, as we all know, as Natalia knows, as your mama knows, we're here for one reason only. We want to see you get paid, laid, and do it your way. Today is a very unique episode with everything that's going on in the world, with social issues and trans stuff and boycotting and get woke, go broke. I said, let's figure out if that is actually the case. Bud Light is under fire these days, shitstorm. So is Bud Light going to be one of the companies that no longer is here? Or if you're boycotting Bud Light, is that actually going to affect their bottom line? What about companies that have gone woke? What's happened to their bottom line? We're going to get all that into today. We're going to talk about some go woke, go broke. We're going to talk about conscious capitalism. We're going to go over some terms that are being thrown out there in the atmosphere these days. And we want to get your opinion on what you think is going on in the world, this wokeism, trans stuff, LGBT, identification, all the nonsense and some nonsensical things that are actually happening. We got some famous people weighing in on it. We're going to let you know that. We're here. Obviously, you know where I stand on some of this stuff if you've seen any of our episodes. But we're going to sort of take an impartial view. We're going to back up and say this is the good, the bad, the ugly of actually what's happening out there. So we're going rapid fire today. It's Friday. The Miami Heat are playing. You know I got to get to that Heat game right there. Hopefully they make it to the playoffs. Bing, 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 bing. We got Natalia Devalier in the house. Bing, the baddie bing, with the Jamaican patty. Nat, how you feeling? What do you want the people to know?
Awesome. I'm feeling good. I'm super excited for today's episode. I think this is a trending topic, and it's money related, so I'm always excited when we talk about money.
Money, social issues,
all
relationships, finance, romance.
Everything.
You know how we do over here. If this is your first time watching Valuetainment and watching the SOSCAST, welcome. Tip of the cap to you. This is what we do. If you're a return customer, return viewer, we're happy to have you back. We love you. We appreciate you.
And what do you tell them if they're not subscribed, Adam?
That they mama's a hoe.
Oh, okay. So make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, and share. Yeah. And let's get this party
Is your mom subscribed, by the way?
Subscribed with the bell on, and she shares and likes.
We don't need to be calling your mom anything.
No. Shout out to
she
your
will
mom.
Come at you. Shout out to mom. We love you. We got Joey in the house. It's a man with the plan who's making things happen from Afghanistan. And he's not from, okay, my bad.
Jersey, baby.
From Jersey.
Close enough, I know.
Afghanistan, New Jersey, I don't know. Just Afghanistan rhymed it with man with plan. Can't say man with the plan from New Jersey. Okay?
Well.
Anyway, guys, welcome, guys. Let's get right into this thing today. So here, I told you I was going to sort of be unbiased and sort of be a arbiter of the conversation, arbiter of truth. And we'll weigh in on some things that are actually sane, actually ridiculous. So what I wanted to do is start the episode off with just defining some of the terms that are thrown out there into the atmosphere, into the social construct, into the malaise of life. And let's get right into some of these terms. You let me know if you've heard these terms before. You let me know if I butchered the term. I don't get everything right. I get most of the stuff right. You know, you can't fool everybody all the time, you know, that whole thing. So you let me know if you're familiar with these terms, and we'll go from there. Here are the top trending terms that are used in the woke activism lifestyle. So number one is woke. So the definition of woke has sort of changed and evolved over time as people have clutched on to what woke is. So it used to be sort of to be informed, enlightened, and educated on social injustices that have happened in America, around the world, to certain types of people. I think we can all kind of agree that certain people have been marginalized, certain communities that have been victimized. You know, I didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on me. You know about that one. Yeah. Who said that, by the way? You. That was Malcolm X. Okay.
Malcolm X.
But now it is sort of transformed into being overly sensitive, overly politically correct, and that's sort of where it's taken on a new life, this wokeism. So it's kind of been started off as more of a positive word, I would say, an enlightened word, and now it's sort of been a word that is just sort of identified with victimhood and basically just lowest common denominator, and a lot of people think that is now a negative term. So what do you think? Is woke a negative term or is it a positive term? We'd love to get you weighing on that. So that's woke. Then speaking of corporations, there's a couple letters of the alphabet that they use to describe certain types of policies and certain types of agendas. There's DEI. You familiar with this? DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I remember I did an episode back in 2000 when the NASDAQ went woke, where basically you're just hiring people just by the basis of them being a female or them being black or them being Latina or them being trans, or you have to have a LGBTQ member on your board just to say you check that box. But maybe they're not necessarily the best person, man, woman, they, them for the job. So that's DEI, policies and programs that promote representation and participation of different groups, DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. Then you have something that corporations sort of judge themselves on. This is called ESG, which stands for environmental, social, and governance issues. So we had Vivek Ramaswamy, boss ass dude. He came on a PBD podcast. Pat, myself, and Vivek had a conversation. I was like, after the podcast, I was like, dude, I gotta give you a compliment. You're so smart, but also you kind of break things down so people can basically understand them. Since then, I'm not saying it's because of us, but basically he launched his presidential campaign. He's running for president as a Republican. And I actually sat and listened to him at Anthony Pompilano's Pomps event down in Miami. The guy's a beast. So he's basically anti-ESG. He's basically saying focus on profits, not wokeism. That's kind of what that is. So companies' performance regarding ESG. Then you have conscious capitalism or woke capitalism. That's business operating ethically while chasing profits. You know, Milton Friedman basically used to say, listen, a company's sole responsibility is profits for the shareholders. Since then, people are talking about stakeholder capitalism. They're talking about this conscious capitalism and basically infusing wokeism, culturalism, all the identity politics into the bottom line of corporations. Does that actually pay off? That's a conversation we're gonna have today. A couple more terms. You got virtue signaling. That's public expression of opinion to show good character. So I'm just gonna virtue signal that I'm actually a good person, but behind closed doors, maybe it ain't so good. Okay? You got cultural appropriation. This is more of a term that you hear when you're basically hijacking someone's cultural identity. It's inappropriate adoption of customs and practices of a marginalized group. Gaslighting, I think this was literally the word of the year in 2022. We talked about this on PBD podcast. This is when you're manipulating someone into questioning their own sanity. You ever been around somebody and they're like, no, yeah, you know, the sky's black. It's like, well, maybe when it rains, but like, all right, well, you know, the grass is blue. It's like, no, I don't know about that unless you live in Smurf country. They say things that basically, that just don't kind of add up. That dog don't hunt. That's kind of what happens with gaslighting. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. That's a term we've heard before. It's a statement alerting a viewer of a distressing, controversial material. We do a lot of trigger warnings around here. So trigger warning, if you get offended easily, this episode ain't for you. Trigger warning. Okay, then you got gender inclusive. This is not discriminating against sex, social gender, or gender identity. We got gender pronouns, and basically this is the, you know, how someone wants to be identified while talking to them. This is the he, she, they, them, his, her, cis, all that kind of stuff like that. Oh, it's just kind of hard to keep up. It really is.
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
I'm trying my best over here. Then you got gender binary. This is the belief that there's only two genders. Nat, what are those two genders, just to be clear?
Male and female.
Oh my God, you just got canceled.
Male and female.
You just got canceled.
Look, I have blue nails for the males. I got the pink jacket for the ladies.
How dare you?
Two.
Yeah, it's interesting when you ever see like a baby reveal party. We're having a baby reveal party. Yeah. It's either blue or pink.
Or pink.
It's never like orange, yellow.
Could you imagine?
I don't know.
Orange.
I got a.
I think we're having something.
I got a red one. It's like, what is that? Purple. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
so it's interesting at these gender reveal parties that it's just pink or blue. But somehow, as they go through life, next thing you know,
now they're doing like
all sorts of colors.
White ones, like they're doing like neutral colors. Yeah.
The worst is when they're like, "We're gonna do this gender reveal. We're gonna shoot up a thing, and next thing there's an explosion. The whole party. Like, you ever seen these things?
No.
Fireworks, nonsense.
No.
Just be careful what you're doing your gender reveal parties. Non-binary. That's the next term. Not conforming to the gender binaries, which is they, them. Can you be both? Some people can, I guess. Then you got. It used to just be LGBT, but now it's two LGBTQ plus, and someone threw a pi sign in here. I don't know what that is, but that's two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning, and additional sexual orientations or gender identities. Do you? And then you have something that is very controversial. That is the threat of being called transphobic. And transphobic is when you have a strong prejudice or hate against trans people. Now, trigger warning, we may say things that may offend certain groups, but there's no hate towards anybody today. We don't hate anybody. Like I used to say when I used to do stand-up comedy, it ain't racist if you make fun of everybody equally. Yeah. You single out one group or you hate one group. I don't like Jews, I don't like blacks, I don't like Mexicans, I don't like Nat.
Oh.
Yeah, that is what is known as racist. That is not what we do there. With that being said, we're gonna get right into this episode today, and it is Get Woke, Go Broke, question mark. Kind of like, I'm Ron Burgundy? You ever see that, Anchorman? So Get Woke, Go Broke. So it's been said quite often that companies that embrace woke capitalism, here's what happens to them. They alienate customers, they drive away employees, and the most important thing probably is that they lose profits for investors. But the question I have, is that actually true? Do the numbers actually support this? Dun, 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 dun. We've got some facts for you. So the question is, do socially neutral companies that focus on profits outperform companies that basically jump on the woke bandwagon, right? If you get woke, do you actually go broke as a corporation? We're about to find out today. And beyond that, do boycotts, people that are upset with companies, do boycotts actually affect the bottom line of major brands? Sneak preview, not as much as you would think. Well, let's take a look. So Rolling Stone had a very interesting article that we're going to sort of reference. We're going to tee that up. If we can show the article, just so they understand. Go to the top so they understand that it is from Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone, not exactly saying that they are the trusted authority on business, the economy, and all this type of stuff, but they did their research. Companies that get woke aren't going broke is their assessment. They're more profitable than ever. And they say, sorry, Kid Rock, Bud Light's gonna be just fine. We're gonna figure that out. We're gonna diagnose that today here in the SOSCAST. If you're like, oh, dude, I don't know what's happened with Bud Light, what's happened with the trans stuff, get woke, go broke, this is the episode to watch. So here we go. Here's some companies that have, quote unquote, gone woke over the last few years. We all remember Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, all the outrage that was happening back in basically 2018 in the NFL. He was basically in the Super Bowl. This was the Harbaugh Bowl where Jim Harbaugh and John Harbaugh, 49ers versus the Ravens. He took the team to the Super Bowl, okay? They lost the Super Bowl to the Ravens. The following season, Colin Kaepernick went woke. He started kneeling. He started wearing clothing, basically anti-American. People got very upset. He was kneeling. Listen, I got no problem with basically just, hey, I don't like what's going on here right now. And stating your opinion, there's no problem with that. So a lot of people did, though. And the way that he did it was sort of anti-American, and a lot of people were pissed off. So Nike, they basically said, all right, well, we're going to make him the face of Nike. And what ended up happening with Nike? What do you think? Did they lose money or did they make money?
I think they maybe had a phase where they made some money, but I don't think it was like a innovating campaign for them.
Okay, well, here's the deal. The title of the article, if you can pull that up right one more time. These companies are more profitable than ever. So sneak preview as to what happened with these companies. Okay. So Nike sales spiked after its 2018 campaign featuring Colin Kaepernick. A lot of people were upset about that. The company has continued to top expectations for revenue growth in Q4 2022 with a net income reaching $1.4 billion. But now they've utilized the one and only trans activist influencer Dylan Mulvaney. Okay, and we're about to see what happens with that. I think there's definitely a clear distinction between Colin Kaepernick, athlete, quarterback, versus Dylan Mulvaney, trans activist. We'll see if it backfires for Nike. The jury's still out on that. Speaking of Nike and their campaign with Colin Kaepernick. A lot of people were very upset with the NFL at this time. So let's see what's happened with the NFL. People were fucking pissed.
Yeah.
All right, I hate the NFL. I'm no longer going to games. I'm no longer playing fantasy football. I'm not watching the NFL anymore. Well, how did that affect the NFL? Well, here's some numbers for you. Turns out, not very much. Okay, NFL is unbelievably profitable now. Recently, they locked in new media deals worth tens of billions of dollars. They re-upped their contract with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. Love him or hate him, not a fan. He tried to do my boy Tom Brady dirty. Shout out to Dave Portnoy and everything he did to bring attention to Roger Goodell. Tom Brady, I think, got the last laugh on that. But NFL is as profitable as ever. Teams are increasing their value in record number. Washington Redskins, oh, sorry, I almost got canceled. Washington Commanders.
Careful.
Okay, oh my God.
Careful.
Washington Commanders, allegedly being sold right now. Dan Snyder might be selling it to Jeff Bezos. Maybe not. Maybe he's not buying it. A new bidder came in for $4 billion. Okay, I don't know exactly what Dan Snyder bought it for, but I think it was below $1 billion. So record numbers of value that the teams are increasing. Record viewership across the board. NFL is getting bigger, not smaller. And then here's the bottom line, soaring in-person attendance since COVID. Okay, people were locked in the house, like, fuck it, I'm going to a game. Sunday, church or an NFL game? Let's go Packers. Yeah, upset.
I went to church.
You went to church.
I went to church.
Anyway, the NFL is doing all right. A couple other companies for you to keep in mind. Disney, under fire for wokeness in 2022, where their gross profit was $28 billion, which was a 27% increase from 2021. Now it's 2023. We'll see where their profits come in at. I know their stock has been down big since 20, but the jury's still out on Disney. They've had a lot of backlash with their wokeism, with like the Little Mermaid's now black, or Little Mermaid, you know, you can't sing I Kissed the Girl, or you seen this?
Yes.
Go ahead and kiss the girl. Love that song.
I love when you do
Now you have to be like, you can no longer be like, go ahead and kiss the girl. Now you have to be like, go ahead, ask to go permission, make sure she's comfortable, and make sure that she's in a right state of mind, and make sure she's not drunk. Make sure you ask her parents before you can kiss the girl. I don't know, it just doesn't have the same ring to it. Anyway. A little longer. You know, if there's a vibe, go ahead and kiss the girl. Shout out to Sebastian, the lobster. He was doing his thing. Shout out to me, shout out to Saj, shout out to Nat, shout out to Joe. All right, then you got Amazon, not as woke as some of these companies, but they did face some accusations of political bias and certain types of censorship, while they were also laying off thousands of workers. Hot tip out there, people are getting laid off in record numbers. Recession? That's a whole nother episode. Anyway, but it's still beating Wall Street income forecasts and breaking records of ad revenue with a gross profit of, wait for this, $150 billion just in Q4 of 22 alone. Okay, let me just back it up here. Okay, Nike in Q4 2022, their net income reached $1.4 billion. Not bad, Nike. Amazon's like, hold my beer, not a Bud Light, but they said, we got $150 billion. So just to put it in context, how big of a company Amazon is, they doing okay, my friend. Okay, United Airlines, United Airlines incensed certain people right after COVID with the whole DEI, ESG, diversity, equity, inclusion, all that fun stuff. They said that, listen, we're straight up, not even a question, I don't care what your skills are, we are planning on hiring half of our incoming pilots to be women and or people of color, or preferably both. And a lot of people were basically saying, can we just get a motherfucker who can fly the plane all right? To fly the plane, I don't care.
Just get me there.
What they look like, Buttercup. Just fly the plane all right, okay? I don't need you to basically, you know, get woke in the cockpit, okay? You can get woke in other sort of cockpits, trans, how you doing? But a lot of people were like, I don't play this game. Just get me a dude, a lady, a he, she, I don't care. Make sure that they're the best person for the job. People were incensed, but United Airlines, the company, reported a Q4 2022 profit of $843 million, beating Wall Street expectations. Turns out they were united in their campaign to bring on incoming pilot trainees. Kellogg's, we all know the cereal brands that are out there.
Really?
Kellogg's launched a campaign in 2021 called Together with Pride. Together with Pride, it was a cereal where they faced a boycott from the American Family Association. Boycott, don't like this, getting too woke. What happened to Kellogg's? Well, net sales climbed 12% to $3.8 billion in Q4 of 2022. Turns out Kellogg's, Together with Pride, the campaign worked. Interesting. Last one, Keurig coffee. Do you drink coffee a lot, Nat?
I stopped drinking coffee. It makes me dehydrated, so I started drinking more water.
You boycotting Keurig?
Didn't say all that.
All right. Anyway, they pulled their ads from Fox News host Sean Hannity's show, which led to a boycott and videos of fans smashing their Keurig machines in the streets. However, you know what happened to Keurig?
What?
They kept making coffee, and their parent company, Keurig Dr. Pepper, has seen an increase of annual gross profits reaching $7.3 billion in 2022.
Wow.
So what am I saying here? These companies that have gone woke, I assume there's people that are crunching the numbers and are saying, is this good for our bottom line or not? According to Rolling Stone, it has helped these companies. But something's different is happening these days.
Yes.
Something different is happening. Something's up this sleeve. And we're going to hone in on exactly what's happening with Bud Light. Okay? So we just talked about companies that went woke. The NFL, Nike, Amazon, Kellogg's. It didn't necessarily hurt their bottom line. But Bud Light, this butt's for you because you just lost $6 billion in 1 week after your partnership with Dylan Mulvaney. Okay?
Wow.
Here's the article right here in the Daily Mail. Bud Light's parent company, Anheuser-Busch InBev, has lost more than $6 billion in market cap in just 6 days. I gave him 7 days. Fuck it. They said, no, 6 days. God rested on the 7th day, homie. We're going to do this in 6 days after Dylan Mulvaney partnership backlash. Nat, what's your thoughts on Bud Light right now?
I mean, I never really drank Bud Light. Women usually don't really drink beer often as much as men
You're
do.
trying to say that women don't get home and crack open a nice can of Bud Light when they get home?
Not the women that I know.
Damn.
Not the women that I know.
Okay.
Very shocking.
Well, they
though.
lost $6 billion in 1 week. Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah.
What you think of Bud Light? Are you anti-Bud Light now?
Yeah.
Are you going to go home and crack open a nice, cool Bud?
Or do you not care? Or does this not matter to
maybe
you at
Joey,
all?
if you can figure out how to do a poll. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can figure out, are you in favor of what Bud Light has done or not? Joey, if it's too much to you, don't worry about it, because I need you to pull this up. For those of you that have been sleeping under a rock for the last week, let's pull up 2 of the ads that Bud Light used with Dylan Mulvaney to basically roll out their Bud Light campaign. I believe there's 2, one for March Madness and one where he's bathing in a bubble bath.
Jesus. You okay? Got you choking.
Got me choked up over here. Got me choked up. Joey, let's see if we can find that Twitter ad of his first campaign with Bud Light for the Final Four. Here it is. Let's hit that volume and let's play.
Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for
I think
us.
it's this lady.
So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports. And I'm not sure exactly which sport, but either way, it's a cause to celebrate.
Okay,
this month I
pause it.
celebrated
You've seen
my
this commercial. It's
She
been going
drank that
around.
too smooth.
Yeah, okay. Do I think that Dylan Mulvaney is going home and cracking open a mother-sucking Bud Light? No, maybe a skinny margarita, maybe a cosmopolitan, maybe a spicy margarita.
Maybe she is. Maybe he is.
Oh, you just...
Maybe they are.
Then there was the other ad where he basically was in a bubble bath. Because when I think of bubble bath, you know what I think of? Bud Light. Okay.
Me too.
The estimated hold time is now less than 96 minutes.
I'm shocked. I've never seen this. I'm insulted.
Nat, you want to get in that bubble bath?
Oh, no.
Sure. By the way,
For your patience.
we're good on that. By the way, I know that we're doing a buy one get one for Nat's bath water that's been on sale on Valuetainment website for months now. It's selling out like hotcakes.
Make sure you guys get your
How
membership.
much you willing to spend to buy Dylan Mulvaney's bath water? Out of stock, y'all. Out of stock.
Yikes.
So those are the most recent ads for Bud Light. But it made me think, Bud Light, they used to have other commercials that made me all, feeling like a man. So I had my friend Joey kind of find those commercials. Joey, see if you can find that one commercial with the what's up? Fast forward 10 seconds. Punch in.
Hello? Yeah, having a bud. What's up with you? Nothing. Watching the game, having a bud. Yo, who's that? Yo, pick up the phone. Hello? What's that? Yo, where's Dookie? Yo, Dookie.
Hey, Dugan.
Yo. What's that? What's that? Hold on. Hello? So what's up, B? Watching the game, having a bud.
Just watching the game, having a bud.
I really love
Guys, that was 20 years ago.
I loved that, though. That was
Okay.
really authentic.
I can't tell you, for those of you not old enough to remember that, the everywhere we were, I was what that year that came out, I think in right around 2000. I was in college. You would walk into a college party as soon as you walked in with a case of Bud or Bud Light.
Right.
What do you think people would say when you walked into the party?
What's that?
It took over the world.
Yeah.
Okay? And those are the people that were drinking the beer. People are enraged to see Dylan Mulvaney as the new face of Bud Light. Actually, someone actually did a new clip of this Bud, that commercial right there, basically sort of backlash against Bud Light. It's a Bud Light commercial that they kind of repurpose. You have that clip?
Today we salute you, Mr. Budweiser head of marketing guy. Only you could take a beer and make it queer. 20 years of amazing ad campaigns, and this is where we end up.
Not gonna buy it.
What the fuck were you thinking?
Anyway, that's on TikTok right there. But people are upset about this. Did you see what Kid Rock did?
No.
Kid Rock, American badass.
Yeah.
He ain't happy about this either. Kid Rock basically had a couple things to say about Bud Light. He said, hold my beer, Bud Light. Actually, I ain't drinking your beer. Let's show the people what Kid Rock decided to do.
Uh-oh.
Volume.
Grandpa's feeling a little frisky today. Let me say something to all you and be as clear and concise as possible. Fuck Bud Light and fuck Anheuser-Busch. Have a terrific day.
You think he's happy about this?
Doesn't look like it.
No, he don't look so good. So, there's so much action going on right now that there's actually, pull up that Valuetainment article if you can. It's again, we framed the conversation with get woke, go broke.
Right.
Okay, and we basically highlighted a lot of companies that quote unquote went woke, but it actually helped their bottom line. But again, this Bud Light situation just feels a little different. I don't remember people taking out their fucking semi-automatic and mowing down Nike or mowing down Keurig machines.
Yeah.
This feels different. This is basically piercing right at the heart of Americana. I'm a beer. I'm a hardworking man. I want to get home cracking open a cold Bud. Leave me alone, woman. I'm drinking my beer. And you're upsetting men. I think that's what's happening on. You're basically alienating your core base to basically try to go after a market that probably has no interest in drinking your product.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see how that works out for them.
But
you gonna say something?
Yeah, I think what's also so different today is that this type of part of the wokeism is being forced down your throat. I feel like back then and like through these like innovative campaigns, it's like little things that like, okay, I see your point. There's an audience for it. There's a group of people for it. But when you have like something like this where like the audience is so small and then you're trying to like force it into people who aren't like okay with it, that's where you have these like, that was kind of a scary reaction.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And speaking
to pull
of so
that out,
small,
I was like, whoa, like that's a lot.
Speaking of
for
small,
that.
I know you did some research about how many trans people are out there in America and the world. What kind of research do you have on that? What numbers do you have?
Let me show you. Actually, let me pull it up real quick for you.
So while you're doing that, see if you can pull up that Valuetainment article about that bar owner, Joe. Oh, you have it right there. Just scroll to the top. That's fine. We'll come back to you now.
Yeah.
So, interesting article right here. So if you can go to that. So it's the title of the article is Bud Lightning Rod. Restaurant owner says transgender controversy is leading to fights. Basically, people are seeing others drink Bud Light and they're getting super upset and they're starting fights over it. Now, listen, if you know anything about your boy Saz over here, I've been to every single bar, lounge, club, in-house, outhouse, tailgate, everything there is, I've been there, done that. Usually, you have to start getting drunk before the fights start. That's kind of drinking 101. You get beer muscles, try to get tough, then fights start breaking out. We've all been there. Now, fights are starting before the drinking even starts. Hey, let me get a Bud. What'd you order, boy? Bang!
It's a no-go.
It's like, it's so interesting.
Yeah.
People are boycotting and fighting people because they're drinking Bud Light. So it usually happens, you know, they say you get beer goggles, right? You know, you get a little drunk. Next thing you know, that 3's looking like a 9. I don't know. Turn that 6 upside down. It's a 9. I don't know. Dude, I just came home with this girl. Turns out she's got a, I don't know, she's a little hairy. She got a mustache. Next thing you know, she got dick. Oh, what just happened?
Where are we right now?
Some beer goggles. But now people, you know, aren't even waiting to get drunk
It's a Bud
to
Light
start
goggles.
fighting.
Bud
The
Light
Bud Light
goggles.
goggles. People getting upset. Nat, let me know if you're waiting for that. But basically, Megyn Kelly, who I respect, former Fox host, former NBC host, I believe, she basically highlighted essentially what was going on in the Bud Light marketing campaign's next innovation and what led to this. See if you can find that YouTube clip of Megyn Kelly. Do you have that? You're allowed to talk, Joe.
Not yet.
Okay. But basically, she played a clip of the marketing executive who was responsible for coming up with this campaign. So I think I give you the timestamp as well. It's in there. I want to say it's like 6 something, 5 something. Do you have that? You know the number?
Here it is.
No.
Let me just tell you what it is right quick. Bear with us. Technical difficulties. We all know what happens here on the SOSCAST. Can't win them all. But basically, it is, I want to say 5:30 in real quick. I'm going to find it. 7:15. 7:15, play at 1.5 speed.
Was safe for her to do podcasts and say what she really thought. She apparently didn't see the shitstorm that was about to rain down on her and her brand thanks to her stupid marketing campaign. Listen to her.
So I had this super clear mandate. It's like we need to evolve and elevate this incredibly iconic brand. And what I brought to that was a belief in, okay, what does evolve and elevate mean? It means inclusivity. You've got to see people who reflect you in the work. And we had this hangover. I mean, Bud Light had been kind of a brand of fratty, kind of out of touch humor. And it was really important that we had another approach. So
keep going.
So she went this way and went on to say it's essential that the brand attract more female and younger drinkers. Otherwise, there will be no future for Bud Light. Because this, Eliana, is what she thinks women will support. That women want a fake pretend woman who mocks us at every video Dylan Mulvaney releases to be the face of our beer. That's her understanding of what women want.
Boom.
There is something I think
interesting. More than anything, if you can just pull up the image of those 3 women speaking, This is why I'm highlighting women speaking. Because there's people out there, they're gonna be out there, it's like, Adam, you're a dude, who gives a shit?
Right.
I don't care what your opinion is. It's like, well, let's hear what the ladies have to say, what Natalia has to say, what Megyn Kelly has to say, what the two ladies on our panel has to say, because they're the ones that kind of should be offended the most.
Yes.
By what she calls pretend women. And it's very interesting that the marketing executive, she said, you know, Bud Light has always been sort of this fratty, out of touch humor, dudes joking around. Newsflash, marketing executive, that's who drinks your beer.
Yeah, that's your market. That's where you guys should stay.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, but we'll see. So Megyn Kelly weighed in on that. And I think there's an article about what Bud Light has had to say in response of this. Do you have that, Joe?
Yeah.
Do you know, take a guess what Bud Light has had to say about everything that's happened. Take a guess.
I think that they're going to say maybe they're down, but they're going to come back up. It's only just the beginning. That's
well,
my
let's take a look at what they had to say. There's an article, I believe.
But like go silent?
They haven't said shit. They've just gone silent.
Yeah.
They're basically saying, it's kind of like if you ever done something wrong, you know, your girlfriend catches you doing something wrong, your parents find out, it's like, why did you do that? You're just like,
well, I'm not sure.
I'm like, hey, Nat, how you feeling?
Don't make fun of me.
I don't want to talk. I don't feel like talking right now.
I just have my days.
So they've gone completely silent. So this is the next question right there. I can't even read my fucking handwriting there. I got to take some handwriting classes right there. So ultimately, what am I saying about Bud Light? We started the whole conversation off with like going woke kind of doesn't lead you to go broke.
Right.
But I don't remember this type of selective outrage over any other brand because of Bud Light. Because I feel like when you're attacking Bud Light and you're infusing the trans Dylan Mulvaney thing, you're kind of attacking America itself.
Correct.
Like kind of like, you know, don't fuck with apple pie. Don't fuck with our beer. Don't fuck with the flag, right? Don't fuck with sports, America. It's like, that's where you're going to sort of trigger backlash.
Yes.
We don't necessarily care, Keurig, Kellogg's, like these aren't like brands that you basically would identify as like Americana.
Yeah.
But Bud Light, you don't, that's American iconic shit. I think that people are getting real upset over that.
I want to say, I think one of the reasons maybe they're getting so upset is because something like beer is more geared towards men, you know?
Yeah.
So when you have someone is a man and then they're representing men like this as drinking that beer, it's not a good look. Like now it's like men, like manly men, when they're drinking Bud Light, you're going to think like, oh, Dylan Mulvaney, like you're drinking a beer that Dylan Mulvaney, like, do you relate to someone like that? A lot of the time when you're using an item and from an influencer, it's because you relate to that influencer. So now they're choosing the influencer that you're forced to relate to. And a lot of men don't relate to an influencer
You
like
think?
that. I assume.
How many dudes out there are like getting home, cracking open a Bud Light, and then just getting to a bubble bath with a bikini on,
Do the dance.
and just cha 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 cha? Not many.
Yeah, I don't think so. I hope
No,
not.
that's not a thing. So let's go deeper here. What do you think is going to happen to Bud Light? But more importantly, who owns Bud Light? So, you know, Bud Light is not an independent brand. They are owned by were owned by Anheuser-Busch, but Anheuser-Busch was basically purchased by a company called InBev. So the company is now called Anheuser-Busch InBev. Do you know how many beers this company owns?
How many?
Take a guess.
I don't know. I don't.
Okay,
drink beer.
I don't know
have
numbers. I don't know.
I don't drink beer, so
Okay.
I wouldn't know. I know like Heineken, Budweiser.
Not 10, not 20, not 50, not 100. Hundreds of beers.
Wow.
Show the image of how many beers these guys, just the image if you can. That's the article. So these are the 224 beer brands that are basically owned now. This is an older article. They're owned by just this one company,
Wow.
Anheuser-Busch InBev. So if you're like, fuck it, I'm done with Bud Light. I'm drinking a Corona. Yeah, they own Corona, okay?
Wow.
You know what? I'm not drinking a Corona. I'm going to drink a Modelo. They own Modelo. They own Stella. They own Michelob Ultra. They own Michelob. There's a whole list of the beers. See if you can pull that up, brother.
Photo. It's a photo. Wow, that's a little scary. So even if you were to go to an alternative,
just go all the way down.
there is so many
These are just
limited
the United
alternatives.
States brands. There's actually an image that we can show after you're done showing this, but we'll read these things. So here are all the beers. This is just in the United States. There's obviously, we can get into, we got Blue Moon, we got Bud, we got Budweiser, we got Busch, we got Coors, we got Goose Island Brew, we got Hands, we got Henry, we got Hop Around Amber Wheat, we got Ice House, we got Keystone Light, we got Landshark, keep going down. We got Michelob, we got Michelob Ultra, we got Miller, we got Milwaukee's Best, we got Natural Ice, Natty Light, Natty Ice, all the Natty's cheapest beer out there. We got Natty Del Valle right here.
But
Holy
not cheap.
shit, what is happening right now?
Not cheap.
We got Rolling Rock, we got Shock Top. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. And that's just based on American brands.
Wow.
This is an international conglomerate. If we can just scroll, we don't even need to stop. Just, these are all the beers in all different countries. Here they go, here they go, here they go. Go to Belgium.
Be the top dog, guys. When you're the top
Go to
dog,
Belgium.
you
What's
can
the
have
Belgian
all of
beers?
this.
Okay. I don't know why I picked Belgium. But,
Yeah, right?
But the point is, you may boycott Bud Light, but if you're a beer drinker, are you going to boycott Anheuser-Busch InBev? Because you're going to have to go way down
Deeper.
the list to find a beer that's right for you. You know, I say this Bud's for you. Well, yeah, this fucking Bud is for you, because whether you're drinking Bud Light, Anheuser, Michelob, Natty, Stella, Corona, one of those beers is most likely going to be for you.
So would you say now, because seeing all this, there is a big opportunity for someone to come and make a new beer, right? And provide a beer that the majority of the audience would go to because of this. I think that's an opportunity.
Dude, I'm more of a whiskey guy, but every time I go to a bar with a buddy, he always orders, what are those beers that are like, it's kind of, help me out here, guys.
Apples.
No, you're going to apple cider. They're like, it's like a.
Angry Orchard.
Stop it. It's like a certain type. I want one of the in-house brews. Fuck me with my life. It's
some beer.
You guys know what I'm talking about. Check the comments right now. It's sort of like
Happy Dad?
No, it's not a beer.
805s.
It's not a beer brand.
San
It's a
Miguel.
type of beer.
Type of beer.
It's like the cool beer. It's
Cool beer. Come on, guys.
It's like what they drink in Brooklyn. Help me out here, guys.
Craft beer.
Craft beer.
Craft beer. Who
Thank
said
you.
that? That was Esito Rusco. Thank you.
Esito, you just want a free case of Bud Light.
Yikes.
Respect. Thank you.
Yikes.
Craft breweries, all that kind of stuff like that. I think that's the term. I could be completely wrong right here. I don't know.
IPA?
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 Who said IPA?
IPA. The first one who said IPA, I think it was further. It was Rob Borodex.
Congratulations, Rob. You just won a free case of Bud Light.
Stop giving them this.
that type of beer. What
Yes.
they call it again?
IPA.
IPA. My buddy's always, I'll take an IPA. What do you got as an IPA?
Oh, I've heard that.
So I think those types of beers are on the come up. Dude, Anheuser-Busch, InBev might even own those too. I don't know. But the point is this. If you're going to boycott Bud Light and you're just going to replace it with a different beer, is that really going to affect the company's bottom line? I don't know. This company is so globalized and owns so many different brands that just because you hate Bud Light might not work out so well. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not a beer drinker. Shout out to whiskey. Now, if Crown Royale, you know that's my drink.
That is
if
your
they
drink.
went woke, you son of a, I might as well. I tell you, I just came from that country music festival tour too. I got my country on, met some nice country women. Wait for that episode to come out where we just filmed that. Anyway, we're halfway done the episode. I'm on fire and on all cylinders today. I'm heated up right here. Take a breath right now. Wish I had a beer right here right now.
No, you don't.
Now we're gonna kind of just highlight on some of the, I don't know, trans ridiculousness that has kind of seeped into the culture. This has nothing to do with corporate profits. This has nothing to do with bottom lines. This is basically just kind of some videos highlighting how kind of weird things have gotten with some of the trans stuff. You know, I talked about that Dave Chappelle thing, that skit that he did, which I think is amazing, where he says, you got the L, you got the G, you got the B, you got the T, and you got the Q, and they're all in a car together, but their message, their story, their campaign are entirely different. Like, I don't think at this point anybody has a problem with gay people.
Yeah.
It's like, you're gay, cool, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't think anybody has a problem with the lesbians.
Yeah.
No problem. You got 2 lesbians want to come over my house, all good, let's have some fun.
Right.
I don't think people even have a problem with the Bs, the bisexuals.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like weird, you don't know which way to pick, but fine, do you.
Right.
Fuck a guy, fuck a girl, fuck what, all you.
You can do it
Okay?
all.
Then you got the Ts. And the T's are a different type of thing. Okay? I don't even think necessarily people have a problem with the actual T's. You want to go from man to woman, woman to man?
Right.
Don't mind me. I don't really give a shit. But when you start doing 2 things, trying to infuse what you believe into normal society, traditional society, I think people are like, hold up. Wait a minute, hold up. Right? Dr. Dre vibes.
Hold up.
Then people are like, I don't think, and then when you start convincing young kids who basically don't know any better, when you start doing this grooming thing, I think people are saying,
Right.
So we're gonna highlight some of the sort of the trans ridiculous again. I'm not a transphobic, I'm not homophobic, I'm not Islamophobic. I'm no phobic, okay? But some of this stuff, you kind of gotta be like, is this normal? Is this real life? So here's our friend Dylan Mulvaney highlighting his trip to a nice little hotel room, and our friend from The Blaze basically asking, does Dylan Mulvaney need psychiatric help? Let's play that clip.
I am 6.
Volume.
I'm a city child.
Oh my God.
I live at the Plaza Hotel, which is huge and wonderful and très elegant, especially at Christmas time.
Okay, we need to talk about the mental health crisis that is clearly infecting the LGBTQ plus community. If Dylan were an actual woman in his mid-20s that was obsessed with girlhood and being a little girl, people would rightfully be concerned. But for some reason, because he's a biological male doing these questionable things, it's stunning and brave somehow. You know what? If the people around Dylan, his so-called friends and family, if they actually cared about him, they would be getting him psychiatric help, because that's what he needs. He does not need to be trotted about as some show pony on social media, and he certainly doesn't belong speaking with the president and being interviewed with the likes of Drew Barrymore. What we are doing is we are glamorizing mental illness. The boy needs help. He does not need more surgeries.
I love that. We are glamorizing mental illness.
Yep.
The boy needs help, not more surgeries. You guys let me know in the comment section.
Yeah.
If you think the kid needs help, go ahead, Nat.
So if you look at, I actually did some research, and there's reasons why people detransition. And if you look, the highest reason why people detransition is because they realize they have gender dysphoria and is related to other issues.
Oh.
And one of the other is health concerns. That's the second highest. Transition did not help with my dysphoria is the third. Found alternatives to deal with my dysphoria is the next one. Unhappy with social changes in political views, dysphoria, and so on and so forth. If you pull that chart up, you can see. So like, there's more to it than just changing your inside, like your outside. It's like people think like, oh, you change your outside, you're gonna feel so much better because you look better and you feel better. But there's so much internal damage that it also does to you, and it's very scary because people who are doing it at such a young age, you know, as you grow, you make changes, you become a different person, and sometimes the person that you are on the outside is not the same person you will be on the outside in a few years. So when you make those permanent changes at such a young age, it's very frightening because now you have to go in reverse. And even when you reverse, there's some things in life that once you make a decision, you can't go back. There's no going back. And if you go back, it's not going to be the same. It's any of those like type of surgeries you do, no matter what you do once you start, if you want it to go back, you want to take it away, it just doesn't. And I actually have another one, but we don't have to put that one up. There's also, it shows you the ages that most of this transitioning is being done. And that's between age 13 to 25. And those are prime years that you are so uncertain about yourself. So it's like to make those permanent changes and financial changes, it's very expensive to do it as well. Let's not forget, this is SOSCAST money. It's very expensive.
Oh, damn, great. How much does this cost?
It's expensive for you to go cut your tatas and your TT off. Like,
I mean, if there's ever a time to save that money, it might be before you cut your dick off.
Please.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, Bing Bing, and just say, I don't know.
Save that money.
Save that money. Save
your
that dick. As Pat calls the dangalang. So interesting, because we talk about the transitioning, transgender transitioning.
Yes.
But this is detransitioning.
Yes, you want to go back. I made a mistake. I want to change. This is not who I am. This is not what I feel on the outside anymore. And you see all the reasons why people do it, and it's sad, because I was thinking about this last night as well, because I see these people and it's like, I respect, I have no disrespect. You do your thing from afar, that's fine. But if you think about it, like, these people, they're unhappy with themselves, you know? Imagine that that much of unhappiness you feel you have to make these external extreme changes, and even at the end of that, you know in your heart, this is not like what I was born as. This is not who I really am.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people put that word in delusion, where you have to like put in your head like, this is who I am, this is who I am. And I feel kind of bad for some of those individuals, because you can see like that discomfort with some of them. I'm not saying all of them. Some of them are very confident, do your thing, but there's some that you can see that like, you know, I'm uncomfortable, you know, I don't feel like myself, but it's like you're making changes and you're unsure while you're making it. So it's sad. It's sad.
Interesting, yeah. Talking about detransitioning, detransitioning.
Yeah.
You know, they say, once you go black, can't go back. I know girls like that. They ain't going back.
Adam, I think it's a little
Of course.
different.
But I got an update for you. Once your dick gets hacked,
there it is.
you ain't no going back. I don't know.
That was a good one.
I think I just got canceled by all types of people right there. But that's the benefit about working Valuetainment. Will they cancel me? I don't know.
Oh my gosh. That was
Shout out to my friends out there that appreciated that joke. And if I offended you, you know,
it's okay. This wasn't the episode
just
for
toughen up. I already told you this at the beginning. Trigger warning at the beginning of this episode. So I was traveling recently, and before I was able to book my flight, they asked me to pull up my gender, okay? And I made this video to basically highlight how absurd things have gotten. I was like, listen, I'm a dude, I'm a man, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
All right. Joey, see if you can play that video right there of how confusing it was and which one I needed to pick. All right, here it is.
Oh no.
Play the music.
No music. Wow. I can't even pronounce some of those.
Yeah, I didn't know which one to pick.
No, poor guy.
So see if you can put the volume up actually a little bit.
Legend has it, you're still trying to figure it out.
Kill the volume. So I just went with other.
Other.
Kill that volume, Joe. I just went with other. I didn't know which one to pick right there. It was so confusing. You know, certain people may say that there's only two genders, you know, a man and woman. I don't know. Nat says this.
There
Apparently
are
these days,
only two genders.
You know,
there are only two genders.
Here's what I do know. I'm just going to use an ice cream metaphor right here. You know, there used to be only two flavors. You only get chocolate or vanilla. Take your pick. Now, you go on a fucking trip. It's motherfucking Baskin Robbins out there. You got 31 flavors of genders out here. What are you? A cis, gen, pan, this, other, I don't know, non-binary?
Hungry.
It's like, sounds like a rocky road out there.
Ooh, I like that.
I don't know, some cookie dough. But I know we're joking, but this is a serious topic, and let's get a little serious for a second right here. And again, I'm highlighting as many different types of voices as possible. Women, men, gay people, trans people, everybody's weighing in on this topic because, again, it's not just about my opinion. It's what people in the community are saying. Here's actually a former trans influencer who's basically blaming TikTok stars for the rise in gender ideology. He's saying that is a trend that destroys lives. Former trans influencer and detransition activist. You just talked about not transitioning, detransitioning. Yeah. His name is Ali London. He blames TikTok and its transgender stars for the rise in gender ideology. Scroll down a little bit, Joe. That's a picture of Ali.
Wow.
Let's see if we can play the clip, put it at 1.5 speed, and let's see. We're gonna just pick and choose the moment that I don't know exactly. I don't have timestamps for you, but just start from the beginning.
You're on TikTok. You now see thousands and thousands of transgender, non-binary influencers getting millions of followers, getting millions of views, because it really has become a trend. But this is not just any trend. It's not a trend when you become a goth for the day or you start a dance trend. This is a trend that destroys lives. It destroys families. It destroys the lives of children. It teaches children that the only way to feel happy and to accept themselves is to mutilate their bodies through surgery, through taking very harmful hormones. We have to look at the correlation as well between when TikTok came about, 2018. Suddenly, that was when we really started to experience the rise in medical transitions of kids.
Cool.
It was rising before that, but
again, this is someone who transitioned and then detransitioned. You know who knows a lot about that? Someone that did it.
Oh, good to know.
Okay, we're just weighing in, as like normal dude, normal chick, kind of giving our opinions as just some normal people out there, just getting through life, trying to get paid late and do it our way. But this guy knows what's going on. And he said, listen, this is a trend that is ruining lives. And he basically said, this ain't just some trend. This ain't the Tide Pod challenge where some idiots decided to eat a Tide Pod. No, okay? This ain't the water bucket ALS challenge where you dump cold waters, buddy. This is where you're transitioning your entire body, taking all sorts of hormones, slicing, dicing, and everything nice and cutting up your body.
Wow.
And it's ruining lives. And I think this is something that should be highlighted and pinpointed. The rise of all this type of activity since TikTok came to America.
Yep.
I've been a vocal advocate about this, especially on PBD Podcast.
Yep.
TikTok, owned by ByteDance, which is owned in part by China and the Communist Party of China, the CCP, they don't want America thriving. They don't want America winning. They want our youth destroying each other internally, literally and metaphysically. So I think this kid brings up a great point, the Ollie London, because he would know better than us. So he actually posted a TikTok the other day. Brace yourself, trigger warning, impact warning. This is one of the weirder looking people I've ever seen in my lives with some of the weirdest things they had to say. This is that guy, Ollie London, the detransitioning activist that posted this on his TikTok. Brace for impact. Pull that clip up.
I'm gonna fucking dumpster dive behind these goddamn abortion clinics. Take those goddamn mushy little gummy bear looking ass bitches and eat them right in front of you. I'm gonna blend them into a smoothie, eat them right in front of you. I'm gonna be eating these little bitch ass babies, and what are they gonna do? Cry to God about it? What's God gonna do? Strike me down with a lightning bolt like Zeus? Dude, Zeus will beat the shit out of a Christian God in a I'm gonna fucking
scroll up to the top.
Wow,
Scroll up to the top of that article.
Disturbed. Ouch.
This is from Ollie London, and basically, Ollie London, trans activist, is calling this person out, this thing out. Trans activists say they want to eat aborted babies and turn them into smoothies. Guys, is this who we need to be inclusive of?
Yikes.
Is this the type of person that deserves our understanding and our respect? Or is this the type of person you're like, dude, what the fuck was that?
Yes. What was that?
Okay? At what point do we say, all right, hey, I accept you. Hey, okay, it's all good. I accept you for you are. Cool, you want to be called this? All right, cool. You want to be identified? Cool, got you. All right, great. But at what point you just look at that, show that image one more time.
Ugh,
a point when you just look at that and be like, all right.
Come on, guys.
All right. I mean, listen.
Let's be real.
I do Halloween once a year. This person's doing 365, 24/7, okay?
Oh my gosh.
This is Creci loco en la cabeza.
It is. But here's also the thing about people like this. Those are like the extremists. I also think about the people who did transition and they're happy with their transition and they're living a normal life. They're not pushing it on anybody. Like, you have people like that who make that decision, and then you have people like this influencer that we just saw making that decision. And it's such a bad representation of the whole community.
Well, great point, Nat, because there actually is some of a better representation. You talked about influencer, and there's sort of a normal person. Are you familiar with who Mr.Beast is? Do you have that one pulled up?
I'm looking for it.
Okay. So Mr.Beast, I'll see if I can pull that up on my phone and send to Joe. Mr.Beast probably arguably the most famous YouTuber in the world, Mr.Beast.
Yes.
Has over 100 million subscribers.
Yeah.
On YouTube. We all know about this guy. Well, he has a co-host. Okay, he has a co-host named Chris Tyson. All right, let me see if I can find this article. Chris Tyson was his co-host and involved in a lot of his skits, a lot of what he's doing. You found that, Joe?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. It'd be an Instagram clip. Anyway, he recently transitioned. Okay? Let me see if I can just Google that. All right, well, why don't you find that? But in the meantime, oh, here it is.
Got it?
Okay. Send it to you, Joe, right now. I don't know if we can find a before and after picture of him. That'd be great. But pull it up right now.
Well, while you pull that up, thank you guys for watching today's episode. I know it's not your typical episode where we're talking about, you know, the red pill and the man and women and modern women and feminists, but it is an important, you know, topic today. And I think it's important that we address it on somewhere like SOSCAST, where we talk about money and we talk about, you know, trending things, relationships. All of this ties together when it comes down to it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Of course, like, subscribe, share. Make sure you guys do all those things. Thanks for joining us today. And give us your take. What do you think about what's going on today? You know, give us some chats. I'll be reading the chats today. I really want to get some of your perspectives when it comes to this topic. I know a lot of you don't agree with it, but I would like to even know why. Like, what specifically is it that you don't relate to, right? Why is this something you would maybe never accept? Why is this something maybe you would accept at one point? Is this something like, you know, how at first we weren't open to gay people and then we, you know, we're okay with gay people now, right? Like, is this something that you think in the future is just going to become a normal? Let us know in the chat because I would love to hear some of your perspectives.
I just sent you the Instagram clip. Thank you, Nat.
Yeah.
You guys any super chats you want to get to? Or anything
We
right
can
now?
read super chats at the end.
Okay.
But I know we have a few of them. I see like Uncle Luke, Beating Cheeks in the chat. I see you guys in there. So we'll get to those soon.
Anyway, we're going to get to the super chats. We actually genuinely want to hear what you think about this.
Yes, I do.
Am I being absurd?
No.
Am I being homophobic, transphobic? Am I being fair? We talked about woke capitalism at the beginning.
Yep.
We talked about certain companies and how their profits did not take a hit. We're kind of calling out some of the trans stuff that's going on right there. You talked about basically just highlighting maybe someone who's a little bit more normal.
Yeah.
Not someone who's eating baby smoothies out there. That's one of the
Yikes.
weirdest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But Mr.Beast, you have that Instagram clip? So Mr.Beast is a co-host. We just discussed this. Chris Tyson, not this one, the next one.
Got the
Instagram clip. You get that?
Not yet.
Interesting.
Mr. Beast clip.
It's the last thing I sent you on Slack.
Someone said it's the beginning of transhumanism. It's a distraction.
Check the
period.
last thing on Slack.
We've got some of those. Puts children at risk.
Okay.
Jesus is the way. Like that.
Okay. So Mr. Beast co-host Chris Tyson transitions from masculine man to woman in 2 months. This was Mr. Beast's co-host for years on Mr. Beast's platform. That was him with his wife and baby. Okay. Now, Joe, you know how to hit that little arrow right there? This is a picture of him now. Okay. How many more pictures are there?
Wait, it was a she, and then he went into he?
It was, okay,
Or
go
the
back.
opposite?
Go back to the picture. That was him.
Oh, that
on
was
the right
him.
with the beard.
Oh, okay, okay.
That was him.
Yes.
Now this is her.
Oh. Oh.
We're going to go back and forth now. That was him. This is her.
Oh.
That was him. This is her. Anyway, congratulations on your transition, Chris. We
Congrats.
wish you the best of luck. You look gorgeous. I don't know. Something about just having a nice family, wife, go back to that picture, kid. Something about that picture just rubs me the wrong way. How disgusting is that? Traditional family values. I don't stand for that. You know what I stand for? Go back to that other picture. You look like a beautiful woman right here. Chris.
Yeah.
Stina. Christina. Listen, I'm trying my best. But anyways, it's kind of sad and unfortunate. This was a man, looks like he was married with a baby. and he just realizes in a few months, you know what? Skirt, skirt, cut the dick off and become a chick. I don't know.
I don't know. I think.
Yo no sé.
I think that's like a lot of added up, trauma to make you kind of have.
This is kind of crazy.
Decisions.
Anyway, we talked about that weird person that was trying to eat some smoothies.
Yikes.
We had Steven Crowder on the podcast.
That was interesting.
Recently on the PBD podcast. We had an awesome day.
Awesome.
We had dinner afterwards, and we went and smoked cigars. Apparently, he had to catch a flight. Apparently, he was supposed to only be here for like 20, 30 minutes. 2 hours later, him and his team were here in the cigar lounge. We're having a great time.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steven Crowder. But he basically talks a lot about this. Do you have that Instagram clip of him getting attacked by trans activists? That's not it.
That's not it.
You have a different one?
Finding it.
He's finding it. So Steven Crowder, if you don't know, he's the guy that runs around and says, basically, ask me anything, debate me, prove me wrong, and
change my mind.
Change my mind.
I
Absolutely,
love
change my
when
mind.
he does do those. I love when he does those. I think those are so needed in society. Challenge like your local people, challenge people who really believe it, and get like your real people's perspective, not just because sometimes even like stats. Like, do you ever wonder like where do these stats really come from? Like, how do we measure out just based on that? I think when you interview your average walking around person, on certain beliefs, I think that's where you
Joey,
really
I
get
just
to
resent it to you.
Connect with your community as well. So I love that he does that. It's great.
So Steven Crowder, he does a lot of commentary, comedic commentary, social issues, social justice type situations, political stuff, conversations. But a lot of stuff, what he talks about is sort of calling out some of the hypocrisy of the trans community, where they're trying to be sweet and nice and inclusive and just accepting. But when you have something to say about them, they act a certain type of way. You have that clip on Slack, Joe?
Yes, I do.
Play this. No, that's not it. That's not it. Was that the one I just sent you?
Yes.
Okay, so play that. That might be it.
Yes, this is louder. This is it.
Start it over and use the volume.
Here we go.
Remember, volume, then play. Not play, then volume.
Volume.
I'm good.
This is a call. Riley Gaines.
Here's the thing, there's no accountability for these people. They can say whatever they want, they can attack however they want.
Wow.
Hey, that's not very ladylike.
It's bam!
Yes.
It's bam!
In one day.
You piece of living garbage ass dumpster fire.
We're guilty until
The
proven
Stole a homeless man's lunchbox.
Yes,
It was like a
and be
pencil
rotting in
case.
jail, but
Tupperware.
I know of. Ooh.
This is what
Threw
we
it
see
right at
happens
him.
chemically. This is what we see happens in the data when you put people through transition. Criminality increases, violent behavior increases, suicidality increases. That is irrefutable.
Giving someone hormones that they're biologically not designed to even receive.
Anyway, he's out there, as they say, in these streets, having conversations with people, real life. And the lady, the person, whatever it was, that was like, fuck you, you piece of scum. It's like, you're seeing people attack, a normal guy, whatever, his opinion, everyone's entitled to their opinion, I don't care. But when you start getting physical and when you start attacking people and hitting them and punching them and trying to choke them, it's like now you're crossing a line. That's assault, brother.
Yeah.
As a famous poet, Billy Madison, used to say. Right, Joe?
Yes, sir.
So speaking of attacking people, did you see what happened with the swimmer now turned activist, Riley Gaines, when she went to go speak at San Francisco State University?
Yes.
Basically, she's one of the people that competed against Leah Thomas, the man who transitioned to a woman and basically dominated college female swimming, dominated with a D, keep in mind, tucked in, dominating females. And she went to speak on campus recently, and look how nice the trans community was to see her. See how inviting they were. See if we can play some of those videos.
It's a peaceful community, right?
Are you ready?
I would be so scared.
Go halfway, Joe. This is her filming, trying to escape people. There's 2 videos. You're gonna play the video.
Wow,
Okay.
that's horrifying.
That's what's happening on
Wow,
campus.
I'm scared. I'm scared, and
Listen,
I'm not even there.
The word I was looking for is it's okay to protest earlier.
Yeah, but that's attacking.
Now
Like,
when you start
you-
attacking
yeah.
people.
It's like too much. It becomes too much. Like it's such a bad representation of that community. Like I get you want to make a stand and you want to make a point and you want to be accepted and all those things. But when you start like representing your community like that, like what a bad representation, you know? Like how can you be welcoming to something like that?
Oh man, that's
know?
crazy out there. Anyway, we don't need the next Riley Gaines clip. So let's start wrapping up here. I think we get the point. Certain companies that go woke, things are okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt them so bad. I don't think it's so bad. You know, when you put in the greater context, someone like a Colin Kaepernick taking a knee.
Yeah.
You know, in protest of social justice, BLM. Okay, all right, controversial, but I believe in your right to protest. But when you juxtapose that with the Dylan Mulvaney trans activism type stuff,
Yeah.
you know, they say that dog don't hunt.
Yeah.
Something about that dog right there.
It's not hunting.
Just ain't hunting. I don't know. Maybe I was at a country music festival earlier and that's just kind of I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what some celebrities had to say recently, specifically Joe Rogan, and also a couple notable quotes of their commentary on sort of what's happening with the trans community. Do you have what Joe Rogan said recently? Spotify's Joe Rogan suggests trans are signs of civilizations collapsing. Do you have the clip that from YouTube? I think I would have sent that to Natalia as well.
It's on Twitter?
It is on Twitter, correct.
Gotcha.
From Citizen Free Press.
Here it is.
This is right after the shooting that happened in Nashville recently.
Which is all these articles that came out about the misgendering of the school shooter, which is so
it's crazy.
Wild.
Go about
30
30
First of all,
seconds
that
in, 20
person's
seconds in.
dead. Okay.
You made this. I think you had this. I think you were the first one that really said that drew attention to like that all the confusion around sex and gender was a symptom of civilizations in decline.
Yeah, well, I got it from Douglas Murray.
Oh, Douglas Murray.
Yeah, Douglas Murray talked about this, that it seems like every civilization, when they're at the brink of collapse, becomes obsessed with gender. And he talked about ancient Greece and ancient Rome, and it just seems like a thing that people do when there's no real, like physical conflict.
Right.
So people look for conflict that doesn't exist, and they find conflict in standard norms. They find conflict in society.
Yeah. There's actually a famous author who's very knowledgeable on this issue. Her name is Camille Paglia. She talks about transgenderism. She said, when society believes that they're so cosmopolitan and sophisticated, when in reality we're a civilization that no longer believes in itself. And what Joe Rogan essentially was saying is, if you look at ancient Greece or ancient Rome, and you know, they weren't exactly doing paintings, they were doing busts and statues. That was their thing. And as the story goes, once a man was a man and a woman was a woman, once they started seeing where the statues where the men were started doing like this kind of a thing and just started being like a little more whatever. I don't want to do it on camera. Someone's going to cut it up and call me one of those. That led to the collapse of society. And what Joe Rogan was saying was basically so there's no real conflict. We have it so good here in America. We have it so good in the West. We have it so good in the first world.
Right.
Like, you know, you go to the poorest person's house in America, the poorest person's house, and you compare that with the poorest person's house in where you were talking about, Honduras. You go to certain parts of Africa. You go in certain parts of the Middle East. You go to certain parts of Asia. It is night and day. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Now, we have it so good here in America that we're looking for absurdities to basically harp on. There's no real conflict.
Yeah.
Here in America, there's no real war. It's like there's a war in Afghanistan. I don't know. Does it affect your life?
Yeah.
All right. There's a war in Iraq. Is there anything? There's a war in Ukraine. It doesn't affect me. You know what affects me? I'm not feeling my best. So I think I'm going to transition. I ain't who I am. So is it a decline of civilization? Is it a collapse of civilization? Joe Rogan actually spoke with Jordan Peterson about this, who basically was saying the exact same thing. So shout out to our good friend Joe, who actually got us tickets to the last UFC fight the other day. Gave him to PBD, took us to the thing. That was awesome. But yeah, I appreciate that perspective. Are we in decline? You know, what's the famous quote that hard times leads to strong men leads to good times lead to weak men lead to hard times, and so on and so forth. Where are we in that right now? We're in good times right now. And our good times lead in to weak men.
Yes.
Jury's still out, but it's trending in the wrong direction.
No bueno.
Here's a couple other quotes. I think it's important to talk about who was the face of transgenderism only a few years ago, before the Dylan Mulvaney's and the Jeffree Stars and other people started taking over.
Yeah.
And that was my old friend Bruce Jenner, AKA now Caitlyn Jenner. Did you get her tweet? Let's pull that up real quick. So this was sort of in response to what was happening with the Nike situation, punching on that a little bit. You know, I'm getting old, I can't see so good. She basically saying that equality over inclusivity. Stop trying to erase women. This is coming from a person who transitioned, and by the way, might have gone all the way, if you know what I mean. The differences between men and women are real and are a good thing. It doesn't make trans people a bad thing either, okay? Why is it so black and white with the radical rainbow mafia? Very interesting. So Bruce is like, Caitlyn, sorry, it's she, formerly he. Very interesting balancing act, because on one hand, he, when he was Bruce, was the epitome of masculinity. He won the decathlon for USA, the gold, 1976 Olympics, on the cover of the Wheaties box, doing his thing, pumping his fist. Beast, man, marries Kris Jenner, has Kendall, Kylie, stepfather to all the Kardashians. Whether or not being all around all that estrogen led him to want to become a female, because he felt maybe marginalized as the only dude other than Rob Kardashian, who hasn't been seen in years. But he's was the face of transgenderism, but he's also, quote unquote, a conservative, a Republican. So it's what a weird balancing act that he has to kind of deal with. But I don't know. I'm kind of look to him for guidance in these situations.
Well, he also did it at is now a she. They did it at an older age. You know, they had experienced the life of a man. They had, she had the experience of, life, and I think that decision was made at a point in their life that I felt like, you know what, I'm ready for this.
Megyn Kelly.
So I think that's where it's important that people have that time to really decide, like, do I really want to make that transition? Do I really want to come out and be this individual? So I think what gives individuals who wait a little bit longer is that credibility, because they get to decide, like, hey, is this something that I'm just feeling in the moment, or is this something that I truly believe and I'm going to be happy with my decision in the long term? So I think that's where kind of the credibility comes in.
Bruce did it when he was 60-something years old.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's
the problem that I think a lot of people have with the trans stuff is that you're encouraging kids to do it when they're
so young.
4, 6, 8,
Yes.
10, 12, 15,
Yeah.
17,
And
18. It's like,
and even on birth certificates, they don't force you to put a gender anymore. You can leave it blank. It's like it's almost like encouraged. Like, don't, put a gender on this individual. Yeah, it's like, it came out. What is it? It's a girl. It's a boy. Like, make that decision.
it has a BB or a hoo-ha.
Yeah, simple. So it's like we're allowing it to just get hurt the younger generation and all the way down to your birth certificate. Imagine that, your birth certificate. That's your name, your gender, where you're from, what time you were born. And now that's not there.
So, speaking of Bruce, speaking of athletes, we did a whole episode yesterday on how basically biological men, now trans women, are coming into female sports and beating the living shit out of some of these women.
Bang.
Okay, bang, bang, bang. We kind of covered this yesterday, but Megyn Kelly weighed in on this. Again, I'm covering all ends of the political spectrum, all ends of life, men, women, trans, up, down, left, right, just to kind of see what all types of people are saying. This is what Megyn Kelly had to say about men transitioning to women in sports. She said, I'm begging any college male tennis player to put an end to this farce by declaring yourself trans and playing and easily winning a women's pro tennis tournaments. All it will take is one biological male to win women's Wimbledon, French Open, etc., for this disgrace to end. This was on the heels of a transgender cyclist, former man, transgender woman, who won the New York City women's race. And basically, one of the riders, a former champion, quit in anger over the loss. So we covered this also yesterday.
Yeah.
Speaking of tennis players in Wimbledon, multiple-time Wimbledon champion, greatest female tennis player of all time, was on a late-night talk show basically saying, I can't beat men. It's a different sport. It would not be fair to compete against men. And I think that's what Megyn Kelly is basically saying, is that someone needs to just identify as a man.
Yeah.
All right? Or identify as a woman. I apologize. And beat up some women. Not literally, unless they end up in an octagon and UFC transition.
Yikes.
But, so some of you guys might be saying, well, look, Saz, you're only showing one end of the political spectrum. You're Megyn Kelly, Bruce Jenner's a conservative, Steven Crowder. Who on the left is speaking out about this? Well, Bill Maher has been very vocal about this, as classic liberal as it gets. And let me ask you, are you familiar with the Young Turks? You familiar with the Young Turks?
Yes.
Far left, progressive, woke, some may say.
Right.
Cenk Uygur was on the PBD podcast about a year ago. Debate, discourse, disagreement. But Cenk has a co-host named Anna Kasparian. And she had some words to basically, I don't know, kind of call out some of the wokeism of the identification right now. You have that article right there? Pull that up. So progressive journalist doubles down, bashing being a birthing person language after backlash. She's saying, I'll never apologize. The Young Turks host said that she'd never apologize for wanting to be called a woman. Matt Walsh, famous documentary that came out, I don't know, less than a year ago. What is a woman? A lot of people couldn't answer that tough question. Female adult. Scroll down on that article if you would. So she basically is receiving a lot of backlash. See if you can show a picture of her so people understand. There she is right there. Keep that up on the screen for a second. She basically received a lot of backlash by basically saying that she didn't want to be called a birthing person. That's good. And she was degrading to women. She tweeted that she would never apologize for insisting that a woman is not a birthing person. Transgender activists and advocates insisted that the term birthing person was not meant to replace the word woman, but rather to be inclusive of non-binary and transgender individuals who also give birth, all three of them. They warned that failing to use inclusive language could also have dire consequences, including inadequate medical care. I have a question. Since when has using the word mother and woman been a bad thing?
Today.
Hey, this is my mom.
Yeah.
This is my mom. Hey, this is my girlfriend. This is my woman. Whoa. That's now your birthing person right there. Okay? That is now your person that you engage in sexual activity with that is no longer your woman. It's to the average person. Listen, on the political spectrum, okay, I'm just sort of right in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not three little bears. I ain't too far left. I ain't too far right. Keep me right in the middle, moderate. Okay, synergist. So if I'm the type of person that's like, what is happening right here?
Yeah.
And if people even to the left of me, far left people are like, this is kind of getting nonsensical. What do you think the people on the social and political right are thinking? They're like, this is destroying America.
Yes.
I'm talking about the people in the Bible Belt, the evangelicals, the people that, you know, religious people, conservatives, Tea Party movement, they probably are losing their shit. The MAGA crowd, they're like, what is happening to America I knew? And I kind of understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Kind of getting very nonsensical right here. It's just a very slippery slope. Okay, we talked about the very beginning of this, where woke meant to be just aware of the social injustices of the past.
Yeah.
Whereas woke has now basically been, you know, cultural hijacking, victim mentality, and just identity politics at its finest. And it's a slippery slope because, you know, you got women's rights. Cool. Get the women's rights. Then you have gay rights. All right, cool. Get the gays their rights. You got all the LGBT type rights. Cool. Then you get the trans rights. All right, cool. Then you got trans playing in sports. It's like, all right, cool. I guess, I don't know, maybe not cool. I don't know. Then you get the grooming of the kids. It's like, well, that's just definitely not cool.
Not cool.
All right, we're crossing a line. And then you got into the absurd things, like we highlighted today, where the demon lady is trying to make a fucking baby smoothie. It's like, how far down the ladder are we going here for acceptance and for wokeism? At some point, we got to be like,
enough.
Can we just get a return to normalcy?
Yeah.
So we're calling out the ridiculous right now. Here's where I want to end. We're talking about, you know, I'm not the biggest conspiracy theorist, whether it's the global elite or, you know, everything that happens in Davos and the World Economic Forum and the people that are pulling the strings and they want you to be fat and lazy and they want the feminization of men, all this kind of stuff. That's not my thing. I just kind of like, what can I control? What do I care about? And that's where I focus.
Right.
Okay? So it's things that I can't control. But there's actually a clip from Dave Rubin, a gay friend of ours, who, you know, ally to the traditional LGB community. But as Dave Chappelle talks about, the T's are kind of on a ride on their own.
Yeah.
You're trying to loop in all these things right here where the T's got kind of a different situation. This is a clip that Dave Rubin played about a, talk about the feminization of men. This is kind of where we're at, and it's the good, the bad, the ugly, the pride, the regret, all encompassed in this 30-year-old man. Go ahead. Volume.
30-year-old man. This is what I look like. This is what I sound like as an almost 30-year-old
30-year-old man.
This is what happens when you let people transition in adolescence before they had a chance to grow up, before they had a chance to even learn who they were. Not just let, but pressure. Pressure people to transition at these ages. Young, vulnerable people who are already so suggestible. And I feel like everyone is ignoring the pain because they are afraid that it threatens their choices and their narrative. If you want to transition in your 20s, you've had a chance to be a man or a woman, and this is what you want to do, okay, that's one thing. I do take accountability. I did it in secret from my parents. I take accountability for all of my choices. But when is the trans community going to take accountability for theirs? For leading me down this path? This is the face of an almost 30-year-old man. This is the voice of an almost 30-year-old man.
Wow.
Interesting. Respect to that young man for basically revealing what happened to him. At any point in that, did you think that that person was a 30-year-old man?
No.
I would have guessed 16.
Yes.
Maybe 18. Maybe 20 on a good day. That motherfucker comes to a bar. I am IDing that person.
Big time.
Okay, he's almost a decade older than what it's what you're supposed to be to drink a beer in this country.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bud Light, so you can think of drinking beer. But it's just making me wonder. We talked about the detransition activists talking about TikTok, grooming kids. I think, you know, we're just, every single one of us is just striving to have just a normal, good, life, and I don't mean normal like you just want it to be cookie cutter, but you just want a good life. You want to be with your family, you want to be with your friends, you want to have health, you want to have wealth, you want to have happiness. You just want to live your life. And I get that. And there's all types of people that want to live their life. But at some point, when you're sitting around living your life, you're trying to smell the roses. When you smell something like, something don't add up here. And I think that's kind of what's happening with this trans stuff right now is that like, what is going on here? Are we just going to sit here and just act like what's happening with Dylan Mulvaney is normal? Are we just going to sit here and talk about the aggression of these LGBT, of the trans community attacking a swimmer? We're just going to sit here and be like, hey, trans rights are human rights. Like at some point, it's like you kind of got to call out the ridiculousness and the hypocrisy of what's going on right now. So maybe companies, as we established, if they get woke, maybe don't go broke. But that's a different type of woke, what I think is happening now.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So anyway, this has been an interesting episode.
Very interesting.
Very far from what we typically cover.
Yes.
But I think a topic that I actually appreciated that doing this type of episode today.
I do too.
Okay, so I hope the audience appreciated this as well. Now it's time for the happy ending where we're going to read the super chats. And we'll wrap this bad boy up and we can get the weekend started. Go ahead, Natalia, and thank you guys for tuning in today. Go ahead, Nat.
All right. Well, thank you all for the super chats. I'll be reading them all. We appreciate you guys. I'll start off with the first one, which was actually before the show. It was actually a recommendation. Look up Kaif Hakimi divorce. He's a professional soccer player that plays for a big team and outsmarted his own ex-wife in court. I think I saw that. We'll touch on that soon. Then we had Beaten Cheeks in chat. He said, I started my Rumble and I highly recommend you guys follow suit to YouTube. Not only censor facts, but for you guys not being woke enough.
We know all about Rumble. We've had dinner with Chris and PPD knows about Rumble. It's an ongoing conversation.
Yes. Then we have Thais Costa. Sauce, my homeboy, great podcast, no trans. Athos, the war hero, send hello. Chico Lopez.
Chico Lopez, my guy.
Then we have SN Network. I see you in the chat. Thank you for always being in the chat. What's good, Soscast? I have a question for the panel. Why do 90% of women usually don't answer when you write them on dating apps? Because meeting in person is better. Simple answer. Then we got Uncle Luke. I haven't seen you, Uncle Luke. Good to see you in the chat.
305.
Uncle Luke. He said the agenda of a modern day wokeness in the West was always to emasculate us and infiltrate the guy's spaces to feminize it and ruin it from within. This society wants guys in skirts drinking beer. Shaking my head. And we have Lord Joseph. Hey, Adam and Atai, just wanted to say hello, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Check out the Dax new song, To Be a Man. Great song. Then we got Uncle Luke again. He said it's attacking American masculinity.
No doubt.
Then we have the last chat over here from Lord Joseph Coles. You also have social emotional learning. This is the DEI that is taught in grade school, which can be racial or gender theories. And then we had a poll we did, which was does Dylan Mulvaney make you want to drink Bud Light? Can you guess the answer?
It's probably as close to 100% as possible. I don't know. What was it?
It's a definitely no. So the chat.
What was the breakdown?
It was 94% no and 6% yes.
So to you 6% out there, go ahead, support Dylan Mulvaney. Drink that beer. It's all good. To you 94%.
Yes.
Here's what I know about polls. You could do a poll right now. Nothing ever gets 100%. Nothing. You could say, do you want $1 million?
Yeah.
Or do you want a kick to the nuts? You're going to get like 5% of people like,
kick to the nuts.
I don't know. Something about that kick to the nuts. I'm about that life. Nothing. It gets 100%. So if you get a number over 90%, that kind of speaks for itself.
Correct.
So, Natalia, I'm going to ask you a very serious question right now.
Yes.
Would you rather get $1 million or a kick to your nuts?
Well, I don't have nuts, so definitely $1 million.
Oh, okay. Congratulations on being a woman. What is a woman?
A woman.
There she is, right there, my lovely co-host, Natalia Del Valle. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode of the SOSCAST. This was fun. We've got a lot more stuff coming up. It's only going to get better. And if you have not subscribed to the Valuetainment, I highly suggest you do that now so you do not miss out.
And
let me just, what?
What happens if you don't?
Oh, mama's a hoe. Can we get a camera on this guy over here? Say hi to Joe.
Joe,
This guy's
Joey.
getting married in how long?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Nice.
He went from the sales department. Now he's helping production team doing the booking for the SOSCAST. So if you see Joey in the streets of Miami or of Fort Lauderdale, South Florida, or in the streets of New Jersey where he's getting married, give that man a shout out because he's taking the plunge. He's done. The rest of you guys, enjoy your weekend. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, which isn't too much, but stay away from bubble baths with Dylan Mulvaney. I just go find a nice hot chick to take a bubble bath with. Enjoy the weekend. Save that money. We out.